For more on this, for the moment, William Lawrence joins us from Washington. He's a France 24 regular, a former U.S. diplomat, and North Africa analyst for the International Crisis Group. Mr. Lawrence, it's now a two-man race between a former Prime Minister, Beji Essebsi, and the incumbent president, Mr. Marzouki. For those of us who are not so well-versed in Tunisian politics, what are the major differences between these two men, and where would they be taking Tunisia in the coming years?
Well, this vote was very, very clear. Beji Essebsi represented Tunisia's former glory, a Tunisia that wanted to reject the Islamists, a Tunisia that wanted to recover from some of the post-revolution stress that it's been going through economically, security-wise, and otherwise. For most people that voted for Marzouki, it was a vote for the revolution. It was a vote against the old guard. And this is a horse race. If Marzouki had done much worse, then the next round would have been a coronation. But with Marzouki over 32%, that means we really have a contest in front of us, and two very different visions for how to take Tunisia in the future.
Now, the revolution in Tunisia in early 2011 brought down the longtime ruler of the country, Zine El Abidine Ben Ali. Almost 4 years later, Tunisians are choosing their president. Do you feel that the country has now completed its transition towards democracy?
If I heard you correctly, I don't think it's completed its transition. Three amazing things have happened. We have a new constitution, which is unparalleled in the Arab and Muslim world in many respects. We've had several rounds now of successful elections at the parliamentary and of course, this new presidential election. And we have strong institutions forming and a consensus among the political class that inclusive dialogue is the way to move the country forward. But there's serious risks. Serious economic risk. Tunisia has serious economic threats, security threats, internal, coming from Syria, coming from Libya, and a chance that if you get a clean sweep from Nida Tunis, they control the presidency and the parliament and the government, and they decide to go in a direction which is against the revolution, there's a risk of further instability going forward.
Now, interestingly, there's a major political force in the country that is actually not represented in this presidential race, and that's the Islamist party, Ennahda. Why didn't they field a candidate?
Well, it may have been a mistake. They didn't run a candidate precisely because they didn't want to run the tables. And less than looking at Egypt, which is what usually people talk about, they look at Algeria 89, 90, 91, when FIS ran the table and was getting 90% of the vote and then were knocked out in a coup which started a civil war. And Ennahda, in every way, wanted to avoid that scenario. So they didn't want to do that well, also like the PJD in Morocco. So by not fielding presidential candidates, they would then preserve their long-term agenda, which was to be a viable party and to preserve their version of what they think a Tunisian democracy can produce. But by not running a candidate, the rank and file broke with the senior leadership over supporting different candidates, and the rank and file voted largely for Marzouki. So Marzouki actually has a chance here if a lot of young Nahdawis and other young Tunisians turn out in his favor. So we're going to see. This is a real horse race.
All right, William Lawrence speaking to us from Washington. Thank you very much.